Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to AG's Convos. This is me, AG, in studio number 1, actually. Back here at the studios here in Independence. It's been a long time since I've done an episode, but I'm back. Things are different. Life has changed quite a bit, so I think the show will as well. As I have talked about in the past, I've put a lot of content out over the past year and a half, 2 years or so, and a lot of it has been circumstantial, but I want a lot more purpose with what I do from this point out. So starting today, season 6 is going to begin. We're talking about serious issues. We're talking about fun issues. We're talking about controversial issues. Whatever happens to come across the table, it's got to have some purpose to it, though. It's got to make sense for us to spend time and energy and effort and money and to uproot our lives for the sake of an entertainment platform. Because regardless of how informational you are with podcasting, for the people listening in, it better be entertaining. So today we're going to be talking about an event that took place just a couple days ago. I found myself in the midst of a highly publicized, controversial, and very much dated at this point event that took place here in Northeast Ohio. It referenced crime, corruption, murder. It was one of those stories you couldn't believe unless you read it. So I would encourage you guys to start there. Take a minute and do your research. I want you to go to a website called justiceforddawn.com. You're going to find a story about a young lady by the name of Dawn Pasella. She was 26 years old. She was a native of Northeast Ohio. She lived in the Cleveland area in a smaller, well, I guess it's a bigger suburb called Parma, Ohio. And prior to testifying in the midst of a corruption and fraud case, she was found dead in her home. Now, this is not a story that that somebody made up. This is not entertainment. This isn't a murder mystery, whodunit kind of situation. This is real life. I took the time to participate in a rally that was being held in the city of Parma, because now here in 2023, almost 12 years after the fact, her death is still unsolved. So this is not an entertainment story. This is the real deal. This is a story that's been on uncover.com. This is a case that's been covered by local media, national media. This is a case that has made it all the way up through the ranks of the federal court system. It involves prosecutors, federal prosecutors, judges, you name it, people who are being accused of some of the most heinous things you could possibly think of. But when it's all said and done, a 26-year-old girl by the name of Dawn Pasella was found dead in her home. And I went through the process of interviewing her mother and father, along with several other people who were very much involved in this story, to get the backstory, to figure out what's really going on, to figure out what the purpose of this rally and this protest was. And when I tell you this is a compelling conversation, I am not misleading you by any means. So what I'm going to do, I just wanted to lead it up a little bit. Again, please do a little bit of homework. Visit the site justiceforddawn.com. You can also visit the site freetonyviola.com. These are the two individuals that was most directly affected by the case that led to her death. So do your homework, get the backstory, and if you want to figure out what happened next, listen on in. I'm about to interview a few people from the protest. I may even throw some sound bites in from the protest itself, just so you can get a real feel for what was going on in Parma, Ohio on Wednesday, August 30th, 2023. First to be interviewed in the podcast, you're going to meet Jamie. Jamie has a child that has been subjected to troubles by the political system here in Northeast Ohio as well. She has become very involved in the story of Dawn Pasella. She got to meet the family and get to know the family, and she's been very active in trying to get this story out to the public. You should check out her Facebook page. Just look her up. Again, Dawn Pasella on Facebook. You'll see Jamie. Here's her story. All right, well, we're back here on AG's Convos. We are back at Antonio's Pizzeria in Parma, Ohio, following the protest for Don Pasella here. Once again, that website is justicefordon.com. Now I'm sitting here with Miss Jamie Sell. How are you, Jamie?
I'm good. I'm glad that this was a successful event.
Yes, it was very successful. I appreciate you for taking a few minutes to talk on the episode. Tell me a little bit about your connection to the Pacellas.
I actually met them. I want to say I met Tony about maybe 3-4 years ago. I through Sandy Freese. Sandy Freese did an interview with him, and I had already been friends with her from going to another protest. And somewhere in Ohio, because I'm always going to wrongful conviction protests. And one day I was sitting there and I was like, oh, I'm just going to watch her. I'm just going to watch this interview because I wanted to see her technique and how it went. And I was just blown away. It was her interview with Tony Viola, and I was just so impressed with her interview, and I was really moved by his story.
Yeah.
And so then I wanted to contact him, and then that was how I got in contact with the Pacellas, and then I mean, it was just like this whole chain reaction of events. And me and Tony, kind of bonded over like a common problem with wrongful conviction, except I'm a mother of a wrongfully convicted person, and he was actually, a prisoner of a dual sovereignty case because he was convicted in both federal and state courts.
Right.
He got a state, case overturned. And then, he's a pretty smart guy, and so I was able to talk to him quite a bit, and he gave me a lot of tips along the way that helped me investigate my own son's case. And ever since then, we've been working together to do various protests, and also to show up to other people's protests, even outside of the state. We go to Michigan.
Oh,
and,
wow.
we made friends with a lot of Michigan exonerees and people that are, justice impacted over there.
Sure.
And I've just made friends all over the place. So we'll travel.
You're a friendly lady.
Yeah.
Listen to that laugh. Who wouldn't like that? I got made aware of this case, or I became aware of this case through a mutual friend, somebody that you know that I know. So
Yes.
I
Yes.
wanted to thank you first off for following up on that lead and reaching out to me and letting me be a part of this process, because through, one of my organizations, I am very, very much engaged with the justice of all population. And I know that this case kind of centered around, the concept of corruption and things that were overlooked during investigation and during potential criminal activities on the wrong side of the fence, if you will, when it comes to that particular topic. And I know you have your own story in that situation. You want to share any of that at all?
Yeah, we can touch on it. I don't want to take too much away from the Pacellas.
Sure.
But first I want to say one of the things about, the Pacellas and Tony's case that's really, kind of disturbing, and it reminds me of when the Columbus Dispatch had a story and they said that Ohio was probably one of the most corrupt states in the United States. And that really kind of rang in my ears because when my story with my son first started back in 2017, I kind of thought we were the only ones.
Oh,
because back then nobody talked about it, and if you
Right.
did, you got attacked in the media.
That's
and
right.
so I was under siege in the media. I was attacked. People were constantly trying to shut me up, and when my son's case was going through the courts, I realized that one of the ways that they were able to frame him, in essence, was by using the media. And not only did they use the media, but they silenced me from the media. They wouldn't allow me to talk to any
Really?
media. And anybody that tried to talk to me got stopped. Like, they were like, no, don't talk to her. So nobody, so I wasn't, they got to say whatever they wanted, and I got to say nothing. And so that's why
Wow.
I started a page for my son, and it was just, basically called Justice for Austin T. Burke on Facebook. And I said, you know what, I'm going to use what they used against me, against them.
That's
and
right.
it started to work. started to work. And at the prosecutor, he had all these fake Facebook accounts, and then some of these other players that were involved in my son's case were doing the same thing. They were creating armies of like fake accounts to attack me. And when I started realizing that they were fake accounts, because I could tell that some of these accounts knew stuff that only the prosecutor would know. And I started thinking through this a little critically, and I was like, wait a minute here. No. I called him out, and immediately he deleted the account. And then he created another one, and there was always like a little hint in there that told me that it was him.
Yeah.
And every time I caught him and I called him out, he'd delete it. And he was like attacking me for like a couple of years with these fake accounts. And then it just got to the point where I stopped being afraid of these people attacking me in the media.
Sure.
And I started showing evidence to people that they didn't get to see in the news. I said, look, I said, when this Pizza Joe's was robbed, they said that the perpetrator was a mixed race male. Both girls wrote statements to the police, but then the next day they're on Facebook saying they're looking for a white male. You know, there was 2 crimes that were committed, and they tried them both in the same case, and one was used to prejudice another. But my son was innocent of both cases. We have a website. It's www.trumbullcountyiscorrupt.com. I created the website myself. I taught myself how to do it. We have a Facebook. It's www.facebook.com/Trumbull County is corrupt. And
nothing.
Or you could just search Justice for Austin T. Burke.
That one's still active?
Yes, it's
Awesome.
all still active. I have a lot of evidence up there, and he's been in Lucasville Penitentiary for the last I guess it's been 5-6 years. He's been in prison. Most of it was in solitary confinement. And just recently, we had an issue where while he was locked in this maximum security prison, he got into a fight with a very unsavory character who has killed prisoners and who has, was like a self-proclaimed leader of the Mexican mafia in Arizona. And the guy, unfortunately, met his demise a few days afterwards. And so now it looks like we have to go through another trial with him inside the walls this time. And it's not unheard of for innocent people to go into prison and then end up in predicaments like this. And he went in when he was 18 years old, and this was completely unfair. But the good thing out of all this, if there's anything good to come out of it, is being able to network and meet people like the Pacellas and like Tony and like Rob and all the people we've met in Michigan and the people we've met in Indiana and even across the country. I know people all across the country in the wrongful conviction. I mean, I had people fly out from Alabama, New Orleans, Mississippi for different protests that we've had. And then we go to the wrongful conviction conferences. I just went to Arizona, in April. And so you could do more networking out there as well.
Right.
And the awareness is out there. And people are more and more listening to what's going on. No longer do we get attacked like we did in the past. Right. And I think it's just because we've been coming out and speaking where in the early days, they're like, no, don't say anything. Keep your mouth shut. Just go home and fight your battle and don't make any waves. And I'm like, okay, that's what people have been doing for decades before now, and it wasn't working. Why would I do the same thing that hasn't been working?
Right.
I'm going to do what they have not been doing, and that's all we can try.
Sure.
And so that's it.
Well, I really appreciate that testimony, if you will. Mm-hmm. I'm conscious of the fact that obviously this episode is about the Pacellas, but there's a reoccurring theme here, which is it's almost like a don't ask, don't tell kind of situation that we see in the military, but it's more of a keep your mouth shut or else. You know what I mean? And you're almost afraid to speak up on some of the things that is happening, that your family members are going through, that your friends and neighbors are going through. It's like being muffled, while in a very dangerous situation. So I can appreciate events like this that provide platforms like this that allows individuals like you to come out and speak your piece. So your son is in a horrible situation, and I hate that you find yourself going through this. And I'm really feeling bad for him and praying for him because those walls do not talk. You know what I mean? You never really know what's going on back there, and you have to stay in touch with your family members and your loved ones to make sure they're staying safe. And he has to protect himself by any means necessary. So whatever, came after him, he had to do what he had to do. And we don't even know if one is associated with the other, right? That's just something they're trying to lay at his feet. It sounds like.
I mean, we don't really know a whole lot. All I know is that early that day, he was having a good day. He'd been ticket-free for 2 years. He was supposed to be leveled down in October. He just finished his first semester in college, which is unheard of for lifers to even be able to get to do that.
Right.
And he earned his paralegal through Blackstone University. Like, he was doing good things. And then this man, it kind of came out of nowhere. Like, nobody was expecting it, But you're right. If people, there's so many people are scared. They're scared to speak out. I'm probably, I don't want to say that I'm fearless or anything
You're
like
a tough
that.
cookie
I'm
for
just
sure.
mad. I'm mad. And when you piss off somebody's mother, I just can't feel afraid. I can't feel anything because they did this to me. I didn't do this to them.
Right.
And so come after me. Like,
You're ready for it. Huh?
I don't even care. I don't even. What are you gonna do? You already took my son away from me.
Yeah.
You already did what you did to us in the media. You already screwed up my life, made me lose my home, made me lose the ability to finish my graduate education. You've already taken most of my expendable income for the last 6 or 7 years because I've been paying for private investigators and attorneys. And what else are you going to take? I mean, I'm sure there's more you can take from me, but I'm mad. And, they can... I'm not going to stop. I don't care.
Well, you've got a friend in me. Whenever you feel like you want to get something off your chest and you want other people to hear, feel free to come back. Let me know what you have to say, and we'll find a way to get the message out there.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you coming on AG's Convos. All right.
Thank you, guys.
No problem. Next up, you got Sandy. Sandy is an author from here in the Midwest parts of the U.S. She is going to speak a little bit about her experience in dealing with Dawn Pacella's story, the participants in the case, and getting to know the family. Here's Sandy.
Sandy Freeze has come a long way. She came from Indiana to be with us. Website, author, SC Freeze, right? Okay. Sandy's an accomplished author, and this story about Dawn has always troubled her greatly, and she's a longtime advocate for social justice, and she decided to make a big commitment. She said, I'm gonna try my best to tell Dawn's story, and so she's got a book coming out called Eyes Opened, the story of Dawn Marie Pacella, and I want you guys to welcome Sandy Freeze. Let's hear what she has to say, and we appreciate her support and her being here. Sandy Freeze, everybody.
It's chilly. We're getting sprinkled on, but we're here. Thank you all for being here. On the 25th of June, can you hear me okay? Okay. On the 25th of June, 1985, Karen and Ed Pacella welcomed their third daughter, Dawn Marie, into this world. Dawn was a very inquisitive child who seemed to have a mind of her own. Karen had shared with me a story about Dawn. Karen worked tirelessly to potty train Dawn. And Dawn just had no interest whatsoever. But when she found out that a pair of My Little Pony underwear waited for her when she had been potty trained, she quickly sped up the process and she potty trained herself in no time. As she grew, Dawn developed a great many interests. She was the pitcher for her softball team. She played piano, sang in the church choir, and volunteered to work with a sports team that consisted of children who dealt with physical disabilities. As an adult, Dawn could be seen, it wasn't surprising to see her passing out flowers as she welcomed strangers and met them and told them to have a good day. Dawn had good friends. Dawn had a close-knit family. And Dawn was well respected by her peers. With a higher education under her belt, Dawn accepted a position with the same mortgage fraud task force that prosecuted Tony Viola and many others. In time, she would turn evidence over to Tony Viola that could help him to become exonerated. On April 25th, 2012, the lifeless body of Dawn Marie Pasella was found in her apartment. Her father, Ed, stood on the door outside the apartment and was refused entrance. Her parents were not granted the ability to identify their daughter. There are so many questions regarding Dawn's death, and Karen and Ed they deserve closure. They have mourned for so long. I am asking you, we are asking you, if you know anything, if you would like to offer to help, please do so. There are two websites, as Tony mentioned earlier, justicefordon.com and freetonyviola.com. Please check those out. There's contact information there. You can get in contact. If you have any questions after, please hang around and ask them. And as Tony invited you earlier, be at San Antonio's after this is over with. Thank you so much. Thank you, Tony.
Okay, well, we are back once again on AG's Convos. We are here at Antonio's in Parma, Ohio, following the rally for Dawn Pasella, justicefordon.com. And we are now sitting with Miss Sandy Freeze. Sandy, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Very good. Very good to have you here. Welcome to Ohio. I believe you're from out of state, right?
I am. I'm from Southern Indiana.
Southern Indiana. What area? Which area? Like the Evansville
I live
area?
in Seymour.
Okay.
It's about an hour north of Louisville, Kentucky, and an hour south of Indianapolis.
Gotcha. I hear a little southern twang in your voice.
My family, generations of my family are from eastern Kentucky or on the Appalachian Mountains.
Oh, wow. Very cool. So what do you think of this Ohio weather? In August, of course, it's freezing cold.
It is very cold, very chilly, very windy.
It's like San Francisco cold for some reason. I don't get it, but
Yeah.
that's what Ohio's about. So, again, welcome to Ohio. I know you're here for the rally. How are you connected to the Pasellas?
I am writing a book. It's called Eyes Closed, The Story of Dawn Pasella.
Interesting.
And so I've been here since Monday, conducting interviews for the book,
Okay.
making phone calls
Sure.
to various law enforcement agencies, asking questions. I'm not getting a lot of feedback from law enforcement at this point. I'm hoping that it will open up.
So what channels have you used to get a hold of them?
I have done a lot of research. I've been
Yeah.
researching for several months. Word of mouth.
Okay.
And I have to say, Tony Viola has gone a lot. He's done a great deal to put me in the path of the right people that I need to speak with.
Awesome. And is that how you became aware of this story? Was through Tony?
It is.
Yeah.
I started a Facebook group
Okay.
called Factually Innocent several years ago. And through that group, Tony and I became acquainted.
Okay.
And then he told me about the story of Don, which of course I researched. His website, freetonyviola.com, is full of information.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It is amazing. And so, yeah, I've been spending a lot of time with Don's parents, Karen and Ed, while I've been here.
Very nice. Now, tell me about this Facebook page you set up for yourself.
Yeah, it's called Factually Innocent.
Okay.
The last book that I wrote is called The United States Injustice System. I interviewed people from across the nation who either had been or still are incarcerated.
Interesting.
And it's their stories of what they've gone through during their time in prison. You know, is the things they've eaten, which, you know, obviously are not healthy.
Sure.
The fights that go on, the disciplinary actions of, you know, the guards and things like that.
Right. And is this something that you were personally motivated to do, or how did this become your passion?
This is odd. It's going to sound probably, but I started a group for women.
Okay.
To empower women and to give them the opportunity to speak and use their voice. And I used to be a head legal secretary for a prosecuting attorney.
Okay. In
So-
Indiana, I'm assuming.
Yes, from Indiana.
Okay.
And so a woman on the women's group reached out to me and said, I know this guy that has been in a Florida prison for, at that time, it was almost 19 years. And he was convicted of murder. He did not do it. Can I send you the transcripts, the information? Will you just look at it? And so I did so. Well, I could find absolutely no evidence linking this man to the scene of the crime.
Wow.
No DNA, no witnesses, nothing.
So you're researching this as a paralegal.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So you had a background in the field, at least. You knew what to look for. You knew what to look at.
I did.
Okay.
I mean, working for a prosecutor, you know,
Sure.
you learn these things. Plus, I'm a big true crime fanatic. It's so interesting to me.
Sure.
And so I contacted her back and I said, wow, yeah, I can't help but agree, but I'd like to know more.
Sure.
So she put me in contact with him. His name is Jeffrey Abernowski.
Okay.
And we've been in contact now ever since.
Wow.
You know, he'll call me, we write each other, things like that. But that's what kind of got me involved in all of this. And he is actually the face on my Facebook group. He's the one that inspired me to begin the group.
That's awesome. And now, do you still work as a paralegal or in a prosecutor's office?
I do not. I do
Okay,
not.
you gave that up altogether, huh?
Right. I work at home. You know, I'm writing this book. And I just have a full life.
Sure.
Other than
Yoga. We heard yoga.
I love my yoga. I love strength training.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're around a lot of trauma, a lot of turmoil.
Yes.
You're dealing with people in really high stress environments, so
Yes.
I'm sure it helps to be able to find your center again.
It does. It
Yeah.
does. And, you know, the cognitive behavioral therapy, which I gained my accreditation in, and then also neuro-linguistic programming.
Oh, wow.
And my childhood was not always the greatest. And so I went to therapy for years, but it didn't seem to serve me personally well. I started researching cognitive behavioral therapy, and after I went through that myself, I thought, I have this in common with these incarcerated citizens.
Yeah.
Because if you go to prison and you don't have any kind of emotional issues, you are going to have them
Yeah,
when
give
you
it a
come
minute,
out.
right? Yeah. Absolutely.
So
Yeah,
it
we
all
see
works
it all
together.
the time.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I really appreciate you being here for the Pacellas because it sounds like with you having a more coast to coast presence, it would help to get this story beyond the borders of Northeast Ohio, Parma, and maybe even Ohio as a whole. So to have an author out of Arizona who's working with organizations in other states, that's big, I believe, for this situation because this is a story that needs to be heard. It's almost too surreal to be true. You know what I mean? You hear some of the testimony and you hear some of the evidence and you hear the story from the parents and from the people involved. And it's like, it's hard to believe that this is still a pending investigation. I mean, it's like the door should have been shut on this a long time ago. So it's nice to have somebody with an ear for the language, for somebody that understands the prosecutor's office to be able to see through some of the smoke and mirrors that they put up. So I'm very glad that they somehow found you. I'm guessing it was through your own research, which is great that you came across Tony, and hopefully this story will get the attention it deserves, either through your book or through media attention or however it happens. But I think once the snowball starts rolling, it's going to be pretty cool.
I agree. And, it's podcasts like yours that get this word to so many different people.
Yeah.
And I think, sometimes you'll run across people in this field.
Sure.
And they're very competitive. But what we're doing, all of us working together to try to get this out and to try to get some kind of closure on this and other cases is phenomenal. So I want to thank you very much for including me.
I received that. Thank you very much for saying that, and I appreciate you taking the time to do this. If somebody wants to buy your book, where would they find it?
Well, I'm working with the publisher right now.
Okay.
This new book is not out yet.
Okay.
I'm in the process of writing it.
Or any of the previous books that you have written?
The other book is The United States Injustice System. It can be found at Barnes & Noble.
Awesome.
It can be found at Amazon.
Okay, so you can't get a digital read. Everything's technological now.
It is, and I believe it is that way on Amazon.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you very much again for coming in. Thank you very much for giving AG's Convos a few minutes of your time, and we wish you the best in getting that book out, and hopefully you'll be able to come back on at another time and give us the follow-up to this story.
Well, that'd be great, and thank you again so much.
Thank you. All right. Now we're going to hear from the parents of Dawn Pacella, the people who were impacted most, starting off with her father, the guy who considered her the light of his eye. Let's meet Ed.
Now, Dawn's dad, Ed, is going to come up and say a few words. Ed is a decorated Vietnam War vet, served the country, good guy, pretty good sense of humor. And he's going to say a few words from the heart. And so let's give Ed Pacella a round of applause and a big welcome.
I'm not as good a speaker as Tony. But we are here today because of our daughter, Dawn Pacella. Even though she was threatened to leave the state or go to federal prison, Dawn wanted to do what was right and to expose all the corruption that was going on inside the Mortgage Task Force unit. We met with Dan Syriac 14 months ago at the Parma Police Department. After over a year later, we still don't know what's going on. When we first met Dan Syriac, we were told that because it involved political figures, that it was above their pay grade and they couldn't investigate. But if another law enforcement agency wanted it, they said they would turn it over. Since then, two law enforcement agencies are willing to reopen the case concerning the suspicious death of our daughter. BCI, the Bureau of Criminal Investigation, the Cold Case Unit, sent a letter stating that if they got a referral from Parma, they would take it. We also received a letter from the Cuyahoga County Sheriff's Department, and I'll read an excerpt of that shortly. But yet, even though it is above their pay grade, they still refuse to have the two proper authorities that want to investigate the suspicious death of our daughter. I'm not reading all of this. This is some 30 pages. But there's one paragraph I want to read is, after reviewing the Parma Police case file, it was clear that the Parma Police Department did not investigate the death of the descendant. There was not one interview conducted in this matter. An area canvass, in this case, a canvass of the descendant's neighbors located in the apartment building, was not completed. Furthermore, there is not any indication in any of the police reports provided that an attempt was made to retrieve video surveillance from the apartment complex, the entries, the exits, and there was no attempt whatsoever to preserve any evidence collected at the crime scene. Those aren't my words. The Cuyahoga County Sheriff's Department calls it a crime scene, and yet Parma's still sitting on it. Just 3 little notes I made. When my daughter passed away, she was found, it was a 0.59% at the time of her death. Now, according to scientific studies, you lose 0.015% per hour. Her autopsy wasn't done for after 24 hours. So what they're telling me is that when my daughter did die, she had a 0.95. 0.95 is 3 times over the limit of an alcoholic coma at 0.30. It's humanly impossible for her to do it. The second point I want to say is that when my daughter passed away, we weren't allowed to see her. We weren't allowed to identify her. We weren't allowed to go to the coroner's office to see our daughter. They told us her face was so disfigured or misshaped that we shouldn't come down there. And one point I want to make is when my daughter was found, she was dead for over 12 hours. Rigor mortis has set in. Why did we find, I didn't find it, but why were there 4 pads on her chest? I don't know. That's all I have to say.
Well, welcome back to AG's Convos. We have a special guest here at the rally for Dawn Pasella, the JusticeForDawn.com rally. We are sitting here with the one and only Ed Pasella. How are you, sir?
I'm vertical, so it's a good day.
Vertical is a good day. You're no
At my
spring
age.
chicken, right?
Huh?
They say you're no spring chicken, right? So, but you're
Not physically, mentally. Yeah, that's a different story.
well. That's a good mind space to be in. So you are the father of Dawn Pasella, which puts you in a very unique position as it relates to this issue that we're dealing with. We've taken a little bit of time to talk about your daughter and your daughter's situation, but nobody could tell her story better than you and her mom can. So I'm curious. I like to make her as humanly possible. Who was your daughter? Who was Dawn Pasella?
Humanly possible, she was an individual who cared about people.
Yeah.
There's times where she'd go on her lunch break, buy a dozen or 2 dozen roses, and just hand them out to people that she thinks needed their day brightened.
Is that right?
Yeah, she really cared about people.
Yeah. That's quite the spirit.
while she was growing up, I have so many adopted daughters, it's pathetic.
Oh yeah,
Well, only because
super popular.
we always had sleepovers
Yeah,
every friggin' weekend.
yeah.
I mean, she was very, between her and her daughter, her sister,
Her sister. Yeah.
Christine, those two were inseparable. There were times that if they were throwing a party,
Yeah.
they combine them both together, and all their friends got along together.
Is that right?
Yeah, so I mean, it'd be huge. I mean, our downstairs basement would be full of bodies sleeping. It was
she
crazy.
Was she an athlete? Was she one of the
Dawn was
cheerleader or any of that
no.
crazy?
Dawn played volleyball.
Volleyball. Okay.
In fact, she went to Nebraska for tournament, national tournament.
Oh wow. Okay.
So yeah, she was pretty good in volleyball.
Very
darn
cool.
good. Besides volleyball, she also did fast pitch and slow pitch in baseball.
Oh wow. So she was an athlete.
Oh yeah, and I managed baseball teams from the time that my daughters were in T-ball all the way up through high school.
Is that right?
So that means I've managed baseball, let's see, for 15, probably over 18 years.
Wow.
Out of those 18 years, my daughter Christine and Dawn were on, the teams.
So
I stressed having fun.
is that right?
And all those years, I think we were the champs all but two.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. So they got to play together, the sisters.
Yes, at times they were at separate, but then when she caught up in age for
Yeah.
each group, they were on the
Very
same
cool.
team.
How far apart are they?
3 years,
Okay. Very cool.
roughly about 3 years.
Yeah. So you got two daughters.
No, I had 3 daughters.
Oh, 3 daughters. Okay.
Right.
So you know girls.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know. I got 2 myself, so I can.
But we were real close.
That's awesome. Yeah, this incident that happened to her, I know you were obviously intimately affected by it, but to my understanding, you were one of the first people to be made aware of what happened.
I was the one that found her.
You found her.
I was the one that first was there. Yeah, my wife was at home. I went there by myself. Luckily, thank God, I was there by myself.
Sure.
For my wife's sake.
Right.
I wasn't.
Did you notify the authorities, or had they already been on the? How did that go down?
No. What happened was that she wouldn't answer. She didn't answer the door. Mm-hmm. I didn't have a key. Mm-hmm. I had to call maintenance. Maintenance wouldn't open up until I called for a wellness check to the police. Mm-hmm. Now this happened maybe two times before. When I called for wellness, only one cop would show up. Maybe 2 policemen would show up. Mm-hmm. That day, 6 of them showed up.
For a wellness check.
All at once.
Interesting.
For a wellness check. They knew beforehand what happened. They had to. Never do you get 6 policemen show up for
Absolutely not.
When they went in there, 4 of them came back out, said, "I'm sorry," and they grabbed me. And the 4 of them would not let me go in there.
So they didn't let you through the door.
Oh, no, they held me back. There's 2 cops in there, and 4 of them stayed in the hallway to hold me.
Wow.
It took 4 of them
To keep you at bay.
to keep me out. Yeah, 1 or 2 I would have got through.
Yeah, you're a lot younger back then. This was 10 years ago now. 12 years ago now, right? Yeah.
So I'm 73 now.
Yeah. Wow, you were 61 when this happened. Wow. I as a father with 2 daughters, I can't fathom being in a situation like that. So I can imagine your pain, but I would never want to feel that pain, So I almost feel like I mourn with you, even though I know this happened a long time ago, and you've done an unbelievable job at, staying on task with, finding answers to your daughter's situation, but you're still climbing an uphill battle. I mean, we had this rally today because there's still questions that have not been answered.
Well, we had to rally today because, again, there's 2 law enforcement agencies, the Bureau of Criminal Investigation Cold Case Unit. They're willing to take it over. They're waiting for referral from Parma Police before they're allowed to legally take it over. The Parma Police is holding back. They're not releasing it. The Cuyahoga Sheriff's Department,
Okay.
they stated, I have the letter in my car, but
Yeah.
they stated that Parma Police did not do any surveillance. They did not canvass the apartments and the people that lived in there. They didn't look at any surveillance tape of the exits and entrances. And they didn't, there were 3 cell phones in the apartment and her computer. All those are missing. We never got them. Somebody got in there and took it.
Right.
This is after her death.
Right. Which was ruled a accidental alcohol overdose.
Which is impossible.
Yeah, to the extent that they explained it, yeah.
Right. The way they explained it is my daughter had a .59 alcohol level.
And this was at the time of autopsy.
And that autopsy was well over 24 hours after her death.
Yeah, you gave a pretty interesting statistic at
And
the
if you
rally.
lose, for every hour of postmortem, you lose the .015. So if you mathematically figure all this out, at the time of her death, they're telling me that her alcohol level was .95, 3 times over the limit for an alcohol coma.
Wow.
It's humanly impossible.
Right.
Plus, we were never allowed to go and identify her body. We never identified her body. Never.
Is that right?
And the morgue refused us to go down there to identify her because they said her face was so misformed.
Wow. You know, for somebody to be as innocent and as heartwarming as your daughter was, to be subjected to a situation like that, it's got to burn to imagine what, led up to this. What she actually experienced in those last moments, I don't even want to think about, but she had the best of intentions with everything that she did.
Well, she did it because there's literally maybe 1,200 people that either paid fines or went to jail that went to jail and they were actually innocent.
Right.
And
that's
my
all
daughter
on-
was the one that had the information
Right.
that gave it to Tony to prove his innocence, or else he'd have another 400 years to go.
Wow.
He'd still be in jail.
They gave him that much time?
If he would have lost the second case.
Okay.
It's the second case, the Ohio case, that would have gave him 400 and some years.
Wow.
5 years for each count, and he had 40 some counts.
Unbelievable. But your daughter, she paid the ultimate price to at least bring some awareness to this situation.
She knew how corrupt the Mortgage Fraud Task Unit was,
Sure.
and that's why she started printing out the facts to be able to give to Tony for him to win the case.
Sure.
Tony won the second case without a lawyer. It's my daughter that step by step by step that Tony won the case.
Wow. As she built this case on behalf of Tony and all of these wrongfully incarcerated men, were you guys aware of what was happening in her life?
We knew
family?
part of it, but she wouldn't tell us all of it because she didn't want us to
Sure.
worry.
Oh, wow.
But we knew she was scared. We knew she was threatened. We knew that she was threatened to either get out of state or go to federal prison.
Wow. And this went on for quite a while before the case came up, correct?
No, this came up during.
Well, I mean, the I guess the research that the prosecutor's office had her doing, that came up long before she decided to turn and become a witness on behalf of Tony, right?
Oh, yeah, she ran the mortgage task force unit. She did all the computer work. She put in all the files on
data,
the computer.
right.
She did all the hard drives.
And how long did that happen? How long was that going on before this all came to a head?
Oh man. Yeah, I can't say. At least I'm guessing maybe 6 months. That's my wife. I don't remember.
She got the details.
Yeah, I don't remember. Like it was a while.
Yeah.
But
And-
she even showed me pictures of all the case files that were in the hallway. They're supposed to be locked up inside the office. There are so many different files.
Wow.
And so many different cases that they were lined up in boxes in the hallway. And she had to put all this stuff in the computer.
Yeah.
And she's seen the prosecutors going through the files and taking out bits and pieces to disprove their innocence.
Wow.
They were corrupt as hell.
Wow.
And my daughter told me this, and she talked about it.
Yeah. You know, I'm curious. I mean, this is your baby girl, right? Whether she was the youngest or not, she was your baby.
Oh, she's
yeah.
She's just all my girls are all
Exactly.
My,
They're all your
always, they're
baby
my
girls,
daughters.
right.
If I see my daughter, if they don't give me a hug and kiss, they're in trouble. I mean, I
love
love them
that.
all.
What do you hope for at this point? What would make you feel some sense of justice has been served at this point?
I'm looking for the real reason of how she died and the people that are responsible for her death to be accountable for it.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some
That's
peace
it in a
in that.
nutshell.
Yeah.
That's it.
There's some
I
peace
just want
in that.
I want those
Some accountability. in
Yes.
that. Yeah. I can appreciate that. Do you have any memories that you hold on to that just kind of help deaden the pain a little bit? Is there anything about her in particular that
Her smile, her hugs,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
her sense of humor, that's what keeps me going.
That's it.
Doing this it takes me back to being in that hallway with the 4 cops.
Yeah.
I mean, it's bringing back bad memories constantly.
Yeah.
So it's hard.
Yeah, I can imagine. Just having to relive those moments and hear
Yeah.
those stories over and over again, and you see those pictures. It can't be fun, but you got to be the rock for your other daughters. You got to be the rock for your wife. I know how that goes as well. Somehow you have to keep your own sense of humor up, and you seem to be doing a pretty good job with that.
I do the humors. That's the way for me to cope.
Yeah, yeah,
Instead of swearing and getting pissed off, all I'm going to do is aggravate somebody else and get them in a bad mood. So
Right.
the way I cope with it is joking.
yeah.
Seriously, that's
Wait, I see you keep moving too. You know, I tried to help you carry a chair earlier, and you almost body slammed me for it. So I give you credit for that. You said you like to get out and do your yard work as well. That's your exercise now.
I try to do what I can around the house. But
Yeah.
as long as I could do it. If I'm 80 years old, if I could still walk the yard, I'll do it.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
But yeah.
Whatever it takes, all right?
Oh yeah, well, the older you get, you sit down and start watching TV, and if you're a couch potato, that's what you're going to end up being. And I don't want to be
Not
stuck
interested
in a chair.
that, huh? I hear you. Well, you're quite the trooper, man. You had me laughing the whole time we were across the street, so I can appreciate that. But I know what you're burying under those laughs, and you know, I my heart goes out to you and your wife and your daughters, and
Thank you.
I'm glad to be able to help shine a light on on Dawn's story, because I really think it makes a difference to keep getting the word out there. As much as it hurts, it makes a difference to let new faces and new people hear these stories, because you never know who might have the ability to turn that switch to flick. Like you said earlier, people know stuff, or they know people that know stuff, or they know ways to do or to deal with these situations. So keep getting the word out. Let them hear what's going on.
Well, like I said, there's 2 law enforcement agencies that want to take it over.
Yeah.
They called it a crime. It ain't me saying it's a crime scene.
Sure.
It's Cuyahoga County Sheriff's Department.
Yeah, that's pretty big.
And the other one is the criminal, what was it, BCI, Bureau
BCI.
of Criminal Investigation, cold
Yeah.
case unit. You got 2 major law enforcement agencies that said it's a crime scene, something's wrong.
Yeah.
And yet Parma won't release it.
Well, I appreciate your diligence. JusticeForDawn.com. That's the best place for people to get information and share information with you guys, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, well, I'm a post it as much as I can. I'm going to make sure those words get out there. Put that picture up. Let them see your daughter's face with that little pug dog she was holding in that one photo.
Oh, she used to get mad at me with pugs.
Really?
I mean, oh yeah, she used to. That's the only time she almost wanted to hit me, because I told her, I says, pugs are the only thing that God made a mistake on. And she says, Dad, what are you talking about? I says, he put the S on both ends. She said, Dad, shut up. She said, Dad, don't say that.
Oh, that's funny.
But he did. He made it.
Yeah, they're interesting animals for sure.
Oh, she used to get mad at me for saying that.
Oh, that's funny. Well, I'll keep those memories. Keep those front and center, man. I'm sure they'll help you sleep at night, and hopefully you'll get the answers you're looking for here pretty soon. I don't want to keep you too long. I really appreciate you doing this. Thank you for sharing your story with us, and thank you for letting me be a part of it.
You're welcome, and you have a blessed day.
Thanks a lot, sir. You too. This had to be the most captivating part of the protest, as well as the interview here. You're going to hear firsthand from the mother of Dawn Pasella. Let's meet Karen, hear what she had to say, and then take part in her interview.
All right, last speaker's the best. Karen, you're up. This is Dawn's mother, Karen. And you're blocking the speaker, they're saying. We can hold it. Okay. So we saved the best for last. So Karen wants to say a few words, Dawn's mom. And no mom should have to go through what she's gone through. But I really appreciate her courage being able to come up here and chat with you. So let's give a warm welcome for Karen and see what she has to say.
Thank you. And I want to thank everybody for coming. And I want to thank you for your support. We didn't want to have a rally. It's the last thing we wanted to do. The Parma Police have forced us to have this rally. Year and a half ago, a little over a year ago, we went to the Parma Police. 14 months ago, okay? We had 2 boxes of evidence. They told us there are a lot of people that come in and say, well, our loved one was murdered, there was foul play, the police didn't believe it. But they said no one has ever come in with all this evidence. And, yet we're 14 months later and they've done nothing, absolutely nothing. They've continually lied to us, saying they're going to turn it over to BCI, then the county sheriffs, right, Cuyahoga County sheriffs, and they've done nothing. Even after the Cuyahoga County sheriff has a list of things, they never interviewed a witness. We have a judge who has said that he believes there was foul play. He has offered to talk to law enforcement. No law enforcement agency has ever called And we need the media. People out there know things. They might know something small and think it's insignificant. And we're just asking they come forth with any evidence or anything they know, no matter how small they think it is. They can go to justicefordawn.com. They can also go to uncovered.com, which is the largest cold case agency in the nation. Yes. There's an evidence log. You can see the documentation. Everything we're saying is documented. I guess I just really, they've put our family through hell, excuse my language. And I don't, we're here because we don't want to see another family have to go through this. And we also want to see this corruption ended. Dawn died. She lost her life because of these corrupt prosecutors. And it needs to stop. So I just want to thank everybody for coming. We really appreciate you being here. I know it's freezing, so we can go across the street and get out of the cold. Again, thank you.
Well, welcome back to AG's Convos. We are back here at Antonio's Pizzeria in Parma, Ohio, just following the rally for Dawn Pasella. JusticeForDawn.com is the website to go to, and right now we have probably the most significant guest of them all. We put a lot of stock in parenthood, and you are the mother of Dawn Pasella. So when it's all said and done, she knew you before she knew anybody.
It's
welcome
true.
Welcome to the episode. How are you, ma'am?
Just fine, and thank you.
Thank me?
Thank you for covering this. We've wanted media coverage for a long time, and I appreciate the fact that we're now getting her story out, and maybe we can get some closure and some justice.
Yeah. What does that look like for you, closure and justice?
Initially, we believed the Parma police. We believed it was just an alcohol overdose. And no thanks to the police, our investigators have accumulated just a multitude of evidence. And no one has taken us seriously, although no one ever said there was lack of evidence. It's just they wouldn't do anything. So to have closure, to me, is, yes, my daughter did have an alcohol problem, but they used that.
Okay.
And so closure would mean that that we find justice for her, and Dawn died and trying to find the truth. And I'm a private person. I don't like social media. I don't go on social media.
Yeah.
But, this has forced me to speak about it because someone has to. She lost her life looking for the truth and exposing it. And I just feel like, we can do no less. It would be dishonoring to her memory if we didn't. So I guess closure to me means finding the truth and honoring her memory.
Yeah. We've talked to a few different people over the course of the day, and I've gotten different stories about different points in Dawn's life. But you probably remember things that a lot of other people don't. What are some of your more memorable experiences with your daughter? Because again, we got to make sure that people remember this was a human. You know what I mean? Regardless of what the media try to paint it as and the prosecutors try to paint it as, Dawn was somebody's child. She was somebody's daughter. She was somebody's love. She had a boyfriend. She had an entire life experience, just like every other human listening to this story. So tell us something about Dawn that most people maybe don't know or didn't get to experience like you did.
Okay, Dawn from the very beginning was a very high-spirited child. I remember as she grew up, she would say, it's not that I didn't want to obey you or do what you wanted me to do, but I think we all remember our parents saying something like, you do this because I told you to, because I'm your mother or I'm your father, and you'll do what I say. This is something my parents said,
Sure.
especially my dad. And as a child, I vowed that I would never say that to my kids. Well, of course, you do what you were raised with.
Sure.
And I use that phrase with my kids. I mean, I'm your mother, and I tell you to do something, and I expect it done.
Right.
And Dawn, as she got older, she'd say, it's not that I didn't want to do it, but you didn't tell me a reason. I would have done it if you just told me why.
So she was a practical person, huh?
She was very analytic.
Very cool.
She wanted to know the why for everything. If you told her the sky was blue, she'd argue that it was, red. I mean, it was just she.
Not confrontational. She just liked to debate. Huh?
Right. She wanted to debate, exactly. And she got.
I don't think that's a bad trait.
No, it's not.
Not at all.
I mean, she was, she was a good child, and she went through her rebellion, her teenage years.
Yeah.
She went in, junior, senior year, she was into Gothic, and
Oh wow.
an interesting thing, she wanted a tattoo when she was 15, and I wouldn't give permission. So she went to her dad, and he signed for her. And it was very tasteful. I mean, he wanted to know just what she wanted. She wanted a Celtic cross on her calf. And it was very tasteful. But anyway, Ed'll say that, he told Dawn when they came home, don't tell your mother. She'll be furious at me for signing for you. So I guess Dawn jumped out of the car, ran in the house, and first thing, Mom, look at this. Look what Dad. So she was, she enjoyed kind of that passive, aggressive type.
Right.
But I mean,
Very
she was very loving, and she enjoyed family times. She was just a fun person.
Yeah.
She had a lot of friends, and there was always, friends over, sleepovers and stuff. She was.
Now she was one of three. Is that right?
She was the youngest.
She was the youngest of three. Did I know this happened pretty early in her life? Did she have any nieces or nephews?
She does. She has 3 nephews. My oldest daughter has 3 boys, and Dawn only really knows, or my oldest grandson is the only one that really remembers her. The other 2
Is that right?
are too young. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Their memory, well, the youngest one has no memory at all. He was a baby. But the second one just basically remembers Aunt Dawn is at the funeral because he kind of sat between my other daughter and I, and we were both crying, and he went from my lap to my daughter's lap and back and forth. So that's the only thing he really remembers of her. But she used to, if they fell or got hurt, she was the one. She didn't coddle them. She'd joke with them and say, well, your arm hurts? Well, I'll just cut off your arm, and then you'll have something to cry about.
Right.
So, but, she loved them.
Yeah, I'm sure. I don't want to make this too difficult for you, but I'm curious what those last few months was like for Dawn, your relationship with Dawn, because in talking to Ed and kind of getting a feel for this story, she became more and more aware of the, I guess, the harm that was being done at her place of work. And she
was.
wanted to do something about that. And I'm sure that was a scary time for her.
It was.
Were you kind of her backbone at that point?
I hope. I hope so. At that point, when she said that they made her wear wire, I told her not to. I told her, it wasn't right. They had no business. You're not an undercover. They had no business having you wear a wire. She said that, well, it's my, I'm going to lose my job if I don't do it. And I said, well, that's not the worst thing.
Sure.
Quit. I mean, there were other people at the task force that would not do it. They were older, more experienced. But she was young, she was ambitious, and she landed an impressive job for her age.
Absolutely.
And she was going to do what her bosses wanted her to do. Until it got to the point, I think, where she realized that what she was doing was basically illegal.
Yeah.
And then when she said she felt that she had to go to Tony and tell him what she had found out, and I was against that. I mean, Tony's
Really?
I love Tony, but at the time, I was scared for her, and I told her not to do it. Just quit your job.
Sure.
But don't go to Tony. It's too dangerous. Plus, really didn't know. I mean, we didn't know Tony. We had never met him.
Sure.
So I mean, somebody you tell him that you've been spying on him, and you don't know.
Yeah, how they're going to react, yeah.
But she was determined to do what she felt was the right thing.
Yeah.
I probably should have told her, go ahead. I think that's a great idea. She probably wouldn't have done it.
She liked to, she was combative like that, huh?
She was.
Do you know
at
what?
times, but she was a good person. She was a loving person. But yes, she
Yeah.
could be.
Do you know what her aspirations were? What she was building towards?
She wanted to work with the FBI.
Is that right?
Yeah, she actually wanted her to hire her.
Mm-hmm.
She had a couple courses that she needed to finish yet.
Mm-hmm.
But at the time, she was going to Cleveland State for a. She had majored in criminal justice at Cuyahoga Community College. She
Okay.
was going for a accelerated master's in global finance.
Global finance, wow.
Yeah.
So she was on that side of the fence, huh? Very interesting. And that was all taken away from her by the people that she gave her all for, she did what she did for the criminal justice system, and somehow, some way, the criminal justice system is now somehow involved, if not likely responsible, for her not being here anymore.
Yes.
And I know, you always want what's best for your child. You want to give them what they ask for. I have 2 daughters and a son myself. I know that I don't always enjoy their choices.
Right.
And I can imagine what that felt like when she was saying, I'm going to buck the system, and I'm going to do what the government doesn't want me to do, and I'm going to share with this potential bad guy, because you never know. Maybe they're right about Tony at the time, right?
Right. We
You
knew
have
nothing about
no
Tony.
idea, And she
Right.
says, but I've decided that this is what needs to be done, and that was the ultimate sacrifice for her. And I've heard Tony. He's been very vocal about his gratitude, and
Tony's a great guy.
Yeah. But it costs you a lot to actually have that happen, and it costs her a lot. But it's a price that she felt she needed to pay. So,
Yes.
we have to trust our children to some extent, especially when they become adults,
We do.
to make the best call for themselves. And I know you're people of faith. Your husband has made that very obvious. How do you get through these processes, these nights of memories, and some of these moments of pain?
I I really give it up to God.
Yeah.
I pray. I offer it up to him. I feel that we're doing what the Lord would want us to do.
Yeah.
Today, I especially felt Dawn's presence. I had no speech planned. I didn't know what I was going to say. I thought I'd get up there and just cry. I had no idea. But I really felt her presence. And I just, we found out our server tonight, her name was Dawn. And
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was kind of like, that's a sign.
Yeah.
And I've just really felt that we're doing what she wants us to do,
Yeah.
and I give it up to God. I cry a lot,
Yeah.
but it's we can't do anything less. I mean, she lost her life in bringing out the truth, and
Yeah.
we need it out there.
Yeah.
There are people that know things. Dan Caceres talks a lot. 10 years later, he's still talking about Dawn's death.
Wow.
And he's talked about her in a sexual way. And it makes me angry. And
Yeah, I want the listeners to do their own investigations, to read the rest of the story, to go to justicefordon.com and to go to freetonyviola.com and really see all of the evidence that built up to this moment of tragedy for you. Because, for one, we don't have enough time to tell the whole story on this podcast. It blows my mind how much information is out there. But if somebody was going to give you something that you think might make a huge difference, what do you think that would be? Is there any testimony, any evidence, any eureka moments that you feel might change the whole course of this thing, or is it just a matter of the right people getting involved?
well, it's the right people, but there are also several really smoking guns that could turn this around. I mean, we know that somebody in law enforcement got her medical records from Parma Hospital.
Oh, really?
Yes. Ed and I were there the night before in her apartment. When she was found, this wasn't the Parma police that found it. This was the medical examiner from the investigator from the medical examiner's office. Found 3 cell phones. She only had one. They found medical records on her dining room table spread out. We had taken her to Parma Hospital about 6 weeks before her death for overdose. Those records were on her table. They weren't there the night before. And Dawn, I don't even know if Dawn had those records. And if she did, she certainly would not have had them out on the table.
Sure.
We were never, besides not being able to identify her body, 3 cell phones, we never received her cell phones back. We literally, the only things we got were the clothes on her back.
Really?
And she was wearing the same clothes when she died that she had on when we were there.
Really?
Yeah. So, we feel that probably after we left, there was
An encounter of some kind?
something happened.
But there was no signs of forced entry or anything
No.
like that. So whoever it was, she knew him.
She knew. Personally, I think when we said goodbye, we were like in the hallway of her apartment, half in her apartment and half in the hallway, saying goodbye. And she got a phone call, and I have no idea who. It was some guy. That's all I could tell. It was a male voice. And she said, my parents are leaving now.
Wow.
And what I found to be really, when I looked over re-looked at the police photos, she had a BlackBerry phone, and that phone was on the back of her couch, and her couch was right near her door. Now, she was on the phone when we were standing there, so if somebody was maybe down her hall, saw us leave, I don't know. I mean, we weren't looking for anybody.
Sure.
That she might. She had a table next to the couch too, which would have been, if she put her phone there, that would have been the place. She would put it not on the back of the couch where it could fall down into the cushions and you lose your
Sure.
phone. But if somebody came down the hallway or pushed her back in her apartment, whatever, I don't know what happened. Very easily that phone could have ended up on the back of the couch, whether, someone picked it up and stuck it there. I don't know. But there's just, the only thing we know is it certainly didn't happen the way the police are saying it did.
Right.
There's
There's more to the story for sure.
Yes. There was, Dawn had an alcohol problem, but she didn't drink beer. There was a 6-pack of Bud Light in her refrigerator with 1 can missing. She didn't like energy drinks. There's a photo there, and it wasn't there the night before. There's a picture of a Monster energy drink in her kitchen. She didn't drink energy drinks. She didn't like the taste of them.
Right.
She didn't like the taste of beer. So.
And I remember hearing something about a vodka bottle.
Yeah, there were 2 vodka bottles, I guess, on her dining room table. One wasn't touched. One had, I think, it said about half was gone. Tops were screwed back on. If she drank that much alcohol, she would have been stumbling around. Coffee would have been spilled. There were 2 cups of coffee on her dining room table.
2 cups.
2 cups, barely touched. We had coffee that evening, but I know every time like that, I take it into the kitchen. I never, if I'm at anybody's place, I don't just leave it.
Right.
So I know that wasn't our coffee we had. I don't know what happened, but
Yeah.
it didn't happen the way they said. And I know she didn't have other vodka in her apartment. Every time I was there, I'd go through her apartment and look for any alcohol. I would dump it. The police made a big deal because there was an empty vodka bottle at the top of her trash. Well, I threw that away.
That night?
At night. When I went through her apartment that night.
So you would have seen 2 extra vodka bottles, let alone sitting on the table.
Right. I mean, I check under furniture. I checked, I even take the top off the toilet and look to see if there's a bottle. So, I mean.
You knew.
I knew.
Yeah.
I
A mother always knows, too.
Yeah.
They know when something's fishy.
Yeah, that's something about Dawn is when I would do that, she'd walk behind me saying, "Mom, you're such a bitch. I hate you." Then she would call like later that night, or she'd call like 10 times the next day saying, I'm so sorry. You're the best mom. You and Dad care so much. I know you love me so much." Yeah. And it would get to the point where it's like, okay, Dawn, I know, you were drinking too much. You said these things. I know you don't mean anything.
Yeah.
And, she moved home about 3 weeks when they were threatening her before she died. And during that time, I got to the point where I was so tired. I mean, I was grateful that she kept saying and apologizing for her behavior when she was drinking. But it was just like, Dawn, we understand, that wasn't you talking. That was the alcohol.
Right.
But she's just that kind of person. She really had good heart, good loving heart. Yeah. And she struggled. She struggled with alcohol.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something that runs in our family, as in a lot of families.
Sure. It's not uncommon.
No.
You know, she wasn't a monster because of her shortcomings and her shortfalls, you know, but for somebody to try to use that as justification for bringing her harm and bringing this harm to your family, that deserves to be reprimanded. So I'm hopeful that this is all, you know, an accumulation to a grand finale to this story that'll give you guys some peace. You deserve that at this point.
Thank you.
Is there anything you want this listening audience to know before we wrap up?
Just please, if you know anything, heard anything, no matter how small you might think it is, how insignificant, if you could please contact, the Justice for Dawn site, the freetonyviola.com site, or the largest cold case
Organization
in the country is uncovered.com, and they're following Dawn's case. And you can call there and leave, or go online, and there is an area that you can leave tips anonymously.
Yeah.
And all we ask is the public's cooperation. If you know anything, please say something.
Absolutely.
And you know, we'd like to, not only do we want justice for our daughter, but we also don't want to see this ever happen again to another family.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Well, you know, I know that wasn't easy, but I'm very glad you did it. I appreciate you coming on. I know you got Ed to take you back home, and he'll crack jokes probably the whole way there. So
Yeah.
he'll put a smile back on your face for sure. You always have an outlet here. If there's anything else you want to say, feel free to reach out to me. You know how to find me now.
Yes.
You know, we're going to keep an eye on this story. We're going to let as many people as humanly possible hear your story, your testimony, and the rest of the guests here tonight. And we're praying for some closure for you and your family.
Thank you, Art.
You're more than welcome.
We really appreciate what you're doing.
No
Thank
problem
you.
at all. I appreciate you as well. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Season 6, Episode 1 of AG's Convos is a wrap. We've definitely taken this show in a new direction. There's a lot of these stories out here. It's not just crime and torture and trauma. There's some good stories out here as well, but I was asked to be involved in this one, and I really want to show my appreciation to Tony Viola, to Rob McCoy. Want to make sure these guys understand that their passion for getting Dawn's story out there is recognized and appreciated, and to any extent we can do our part to help you, the listening public, figure out what's going on in Northeast Ohio or in America as a whole. We want to do that. So, as usual, I am very grateful for my audience. Thank you all for listening in. This is AG's Convos, and we out.
AG's Convos, we gon' show you how the world goes. AG's Convos, we gon' show you how the world goes.